You ever find yourself as the only person on a massive city bus and think, man, there's got to be a better way to do this? You're not wrong. In places where people are more spread out, those big, fixed bus routes can be super inefficient. But what if? What if you could mash up the flexibility of an app like Uber with the public service of a city bus? Well, there's actually a name for that idea. It's called Demand Responsive Transit, or DRT for short. So forget everything you know about fixed stops and rigid schedules. Just picture a fleet of minibuses that create their routes on the fly, totally based on where people, actually need to go. It's a completely dynamic and personalized way to think about public transportation. And listen, this isn't just some small, niche concept. To give you an idea of the scale we're talking about, just look at this number. Back in 2019, the annual cost to operate these DRT services in the US alone was over $5 billion. That's a massive investment, right? Which is exactly why finding ways to make it all run more efficiently is, well, it's a really big deal.
So that's what led a team of researchers at Western Michigan University to ask a pretty straightforward question. Can we use data and algorithms to make this system way, way better? And to find the answer, they didn't just mess around with a simulation. Nope. They took a real-world functioning transit system and turned it into their own personal digital laboratory.
So let's head to Kalamazoo, Michigan. What you're looking at here is a map of just a single day of service for their Metro Connect system. And every single one of those dots, that's a person who needs a ride. This system handles more than 166,000 trips every year, which makes it a perfect real-world example of what's happening in towns and small cities all across the country. All right, so to figure out just how much smarter this system could get, the researchers basically set up this awesome digital showdown. They pitted two different high-tech, data-driven methods against the way Kalamazoo does things right now. In one corner, you've got what we're calling the perfect plan. This thing has a superpower. It knows every single trip request for the entire day before the day even starts. It's like it has a crystal ball, letting it calculate the absolute most efficient route for every bus, all at once. And in the other corner, you have the real-time app. This one works a lot more like the ride-sharing apps we all use, reacting to ride requests as they pop up. And wow, when you see it visually, the difference is just striking. Just look at the left. That's the real world, the actual routes from that day in Kalamazoo. Kind of a spaghetti mess, right? Now look at the right. Those are the routes from the perfect plan. See how much cleaner, how much more direct everything is. You can just see the potential for improvement right there. Okay, so what happened when they actually crunched the numbers? Did all this fancy tech actually deliver on its promise to build a smarter, more efficient system? Well, the results? Yeah, they were pretty impressive. Turns out, both the perfect plan and the real-time app were big winners. They both managed to cut the total distance all the buses traveled by roughly 10%. Now, I know what you might be thinking. 10%? Is that a lot? Well, for a city, it's huge. We're talking 10% less fuel, 10% less pollution, and a 10% smarter use of our tax dollars, day in and day out. But this is where things get really interesting. The researchers found that just chasing maximum efficiency isn't the whole story. It's not that simple. It actually forces transit planners to face some really tough choices. Basically, a fundamental trade-off between saving money and making things convenient for people. So the first big trade-off comes down to a really practical question. If you can make the system perfectly efficient, how many buses do you really need to run? And the answer they found, well, it was kind of shocking. Get this. The study showed that the perfect plan could handle every single one of that day's 730 passengers with just 22 buses, not the 41 they were actually using. And what's even crazier is that those 22 buses would actually travel fewer miles overall. I mean, that's just a massive win for efficiency. But you knew there had to be a catch, right? And it is a big one, especially for the passengers. While the city is saving a ton of money by running fewer buses, for you, the passenger, the experience changes a lot. Your average wait time for a pickup, it shoots up by a whopping 77%. And that right there gets us to the heart of the second critical trade-off. It's this constant tug-of-war between making things super convenient for you, the passenger, and what the system can actually handle. It all boils down to a question for us, the riders. How much flexibility do we need to have for the whole system to work for everyone? Okay, this table really just lays it all out, crystal clear. So remember that super efficient 22-bus fleet? look what happens. If every single passenger is cool with waiting up to 30 minutes for their ride, great. The system can handle everybody 100% of the trips. But what if we all get impatient? What if we want to pick up within 10 minutes? The system basically grinds to a halt. It can't even handle 1 out of every 10 riders.
So let's wrap this all up. What are the big takeaways here? First, data science can for sure make this kind of transit about 10% more efficient. But second, that efficiency comes with a really tough choice. Cities can save a lot of money with fewer buses, but it comes at the cost of making passengers wait longer. And that leads to the third point. Our flexibility as passengers is the secret sauce here. The more willing we are to wait, the more people the system can actually serve. So at the end of the day, there's no magic bullet, no one-size-fits-all solution. It's all about balancing these different needs.
And that really leaves us with one final massive question to think about. As our technology gets smarter and we start redesigning our public services, what are we actually designing for? Should we be optimizing everything for maximum financial efficiency, or should we aim for the best possible human convenience? Because how we answer that question, well, that's going to define the kind of cities we all live in the future.